We have determined that what we need to do is to go through that report and dissect it for every allegation or innuendo that there is in it. We're doing it item by item. There's something about a check, we're looking at that item. There's something about the sports center, we're looking at that item. And we're going to present not only a response to it, but backup documentation to support our position. Our position is very, very simple in one sense, and that is that this is a very, very shoddy report. And we're going to show where they knew or should have known that what they were putting out was inaccurate. We're going to document the inaccuracies, and we're going to publish it specifically. That's the first thing we're doing. We're doing that in connection with the law firm of White, Arnold, and Dodd, who represented us in this relationship with FSS. And in addition to that, at the time we agreed, at the time the governor decided to appoint FSS to do a forensic audit, we had also already decided that we wanted to have another agreed upon procedure done by our regular auditors, Warren Avery. That report is nearing completion. We're just looking at a couple of things that that need to be put in and agreed to, and then we're going to release that audit as well. So those are the two things that we're doing specifically to respond to this preliminary report.
We provided some almost 700,000 pages of information, and we're still compiling information. That information goes from basic information associated with our computer system to checks, to contracts, to bid documents, and all of that. The most recent request that we have that we've received from FSS has to do with the construction contracts. At the moment, the total amount of information that they have requested or that we need to provide to them is approximately 12,000 documents. Now, for every document, it's not just a check, because behind every check, there's a purchase order, there's a receiving report, there's the deliverables and all of that. So for every one check, there may be 10 documents associated with that one check. At the moment, we have completed about 70% of that request, and we still have about 30% more left to do. I indicated on yesterday that we should have all of that completed no later than perhaps the next 2 to 3 weeks. And at that point, then we would have responded to every request that FSS has asked us for. Now, let me just mention a little bit about the process and how it works. The way the process works is that FSS make their request through the White, Arnold, and Dodd. And from this point, I just say WAD because it's easy for me to say that. They make their request through WAD. WAD then provide information or transmit the information to me. I then get with my staff, and we spend many hours just researching, pulling all of the information together. And once we've done that, then I have to also review the information. Once that's done, then we have to scan all of that information. And the amount of documents that we're talking about is just unbelievable. I mean, I've never really been involved in a situation like this before, and it's been very, very time consuming. For example, 90% of my time since January has been devoted primarily to this process. I mean, gathering information, responding to requests, and just conferring with either the lawyers or some other individual that would have some responsibility for gathering this information. And that's not only my time, but my whole staff. I mean, we have people in accounts payable who have to gather information. We have people in payroll. We have people in purchasing. And all of those departments have spent a significant amount of time in just gathering this information.
Well, The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools has a responsibility to investigate what it calls allegations from the public. It is in some ways a routine action on behalf of the leadership of the Southern Association. Anybody, any citizen can write to the association and say, we learned this about institution X, or we learned this about institution Y. And if they do that and do it often enough, the agency, the association rather, does look into it and have an inquiry. We have gotten an inquiry letter from them, from the Southern Association, saying that it has read in that the Montgomery Advertiser and in something called HBCU Digest, and a copy of the FSS preliminary report about this investigation of ASU. And because of that, it has requested for us to show cause as to why our accreditation should be continued. We have a report due to them on the 1st of December, which we are currently working to prepare, and we are wholly expecting that we will provide the information necessary to continue our accreditation. Well, the immediate impact is the one of the public relations hit. This is a matter where, again, now because of this FSS cloud, agencies are deciding that they need to take another look at the university's credit. The immediate impact of the rating changes is that nothing changes, nothing happens. Most of our debt is fixed debt, and accordingly, that rate is not going to change what we have to pay. The problem is, of course, that if we needed to go to the market again, the debt would be very, very different. We do have some derivatives that could be called if the rating changes down again, but we are not anticipating that happening in the immediate future. Our ratings have been changed down one notch in both Standard & Poor's and Moody's rating services announcements, and we've been put on negative watch because of this. Part of it is because the rating services are concerned about how diverted the attention of senior leadership is from what ought to be, from the things that our minds ought to be working on as we have to dedicate all our time and energy to this forensic audit that's going on by FSS. But once that's out of the way, we suspect that we will be able to get through this negative watch period and get our ratings restored, or at least get the watch removed. We had known about that since the spring of 2012. 2012, yes. But we knew that there was no fraud. What had happened is that some students' refund checks had been diverted, that were supposed to be direct deposited to their accounts, had been diverted. We didn't know how, but we had done all of the things that we should do. We had turned it over to our police. Our police had done its investigation and had brought in the Alabama Bureau of Investigation, who also then brought in the federal government to do an investigation, especially since these are federal financial aid funds. We were notified last month that the Justice Department has arrested a person, and that person has pled guilty to diverting funds from ASU students' accounts to either prepaid cards or different accounts that were illegal. That person is supposed to be sentenced on the 8th of January of next year. So we have moved considerably on this. We've always said there's nothing to that that has anything to do with the university, but until such time that we had hard information and were permitted to say so, we have not talked about it. But now we can, and it's there.
But just to add a little bit to that, I mean, there's been some allegations that the students lost money and all of that. That's not the case because every student that was so affected, the university made them whole. In other words, we gave them all the money that they were supposed to get on their refunds. The university incurred a small amount of money, a small liability, but every student who was so affected was made whole.
There is nothing that has been revealed in any documentation that I have seen and in a report I've seen that in any way, suggests that anybody in the leadership of the university has been involved in misplacing money, in kickbacks. They talked about corruption. There is no evidence whatever that anybody was involved in corruption or colluding to take advantage of the situation. For some reason, people find it very hard to understand, but they are very, very wrong, that we have spent this kind of investment in the university and this kind of result is beginning to take place, where we have more students than we've ever had applying. We have the largest group of students we've ever had enrolled. Our programs are nationally and internationally acclaimed. Our students and our faculty members and our staff colleagues are involved in things around the world. Alabama State University is being recognized as one of the finest places in this country, and it's because we invested, not because we did something else.